Each and every one of us here today entered the world as a baby, where we were unable to walk, talk, feed, or clothe ourselves. Babies are born with a natural drive to seek contact with adults that they believe have the ability to protect and comfort them. They do this through use of social releases, which are behaviours displayed in order to attract attention from a caregiver. It includes things such as crying and smiling. Making that first connection with an infant is more important than many people believe it to be, as it provides the fundamentals of how that child creates later relationships. Caregivers are extremely important in a child's emotional, mental, and physical well-being, as they help us to explore the world around us and understand concepts such as trust. There are approximately 4 births per second in this world, which means by the time I finish speaking to you today, there will be over 1,290 new infants. Although babies are extremely reliant on adults, they are also extremely clever and can do things such as, from as young as being in the womb, they can identify their own native language from others. At as young as 30 months old, babies are able to mimic and mirror adults and other children's behaviour. This helps them to learn. This behaviour is called interactional synchrony, and it strengthens the attachments that they have with others. But what really is attachment? Attachment is a two-way bond between an infant and a caregiver, where each believes the other to be important for their emotional security. Attachment can be broken down into many different types. The 3 main types are secure attachment, insecure resistant, and insecure avoidant. These can be identified through observation of an infant and how they behave with a caregiver when they are reunited with a caregiver and how they act in front of strangers. In a study conducted by Van Eisendorn, he found that 75% of infants in the UK are securely attached. This is the highest percentage of securely attached infants across the 9 countries that he studied. The results he found can show the cultural variations and how different parents choose to adopt different forms of parenting with their infants. So I'd like you to take a moment and just think, when was the last time that you saw an infant holding a mobile phone or a tablet of some kind? And now think, when was the last time that you saw a parent holding a device in front of an infant and not talking to them? Children are learning to play up because they know they'll be rewarded with a mobile phone to save their parents the embarrassment of being the one that can't quiet their kid. But what do I know? I'm just a kid myself. So I'm not here to teach you how to parent. But what I do know is that we are currently living in a world where children are going to face issues such as isolation. We're living in a world where people would rather fake a phone call than look up and smile at a stranger, where people would rather judge than understand others, and where teenagers would rather film an incident for their social media than use their phones to call for help. As children on this earth, we look up to adults. We see what they've invented. We see them stick in headphones and ignore their problems around them, and so we copy them. Many parents see others hand their children devices, and so they copy. We seem to be afraid to stand up and lead down a new path. We seem to be afraid of being judged, and we're afraid to tell children no and teach them to stop relying on devices. Children require interaction, not internet. They require comfort, not computers. An increasingly large issue that we are facing today is mental health. Mental health is riddled with a negative stigma. 1 in 4 people suffer from mental health issues. This includes children. Studies have identified trends in children's mental well-being and how they are supported by schools, parents, and friends. Children with parents that are able to provide security and comfort find they are able to cope with mental health better. They deal with stress and are able to express their emotions in a much clearer way. Children who feel unable to express themselves often suffer in other ways. They are likely to have formed a disorganized attachment. This is rarely seen and can be identified in a way that children are unable to express themselves and often act in frightened manners. This type of attachment is usually formed from a lack of a caregiver or deprivation of a secure environment. But if there is only one thing that you take away with you today, let it be this. As the experienced people here on this earth, it is up to us to educate the next generation, to teach them how to form lasting relationships with each other, and to help humans create lasting connections. Thank you. I stayed this time.
Often when things go wrong and then you get them right, you get even bigger warmth and even bigger support, so well done. Technology, it happens. How do you feel?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you feel good?
Yeah.
And so what is it about the TED experience that you like? Because you're a bit of a fan.
I just love that there's an organisation dedicated to people spreading such inspirational ideas.
And you watch TED videos from all over the place?
Yeah, everywhere. I watch a lot of TEDx or just TED in general.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what's your favourite one? Do you have
the one that you watched earlier, I really enjoyed that one. I've seen one about making stress your best friend. That was quite inspirational.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then do you come and tell your friends about
yeah.
them?
First of all, I have to educate them what TED is, so I normally give a TED talk about that. And
So you give a TED talk about TED?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, and then, yeah, just ideas. Quite a lot of the time, they don't seem interested, and then they actually go, wow, that's
and
quite
then they see it,
fascinating.
don't they?
Yeah.
And were you here last year? Did you see last year's?
No, I
Okay.
only found about it this year.
Right, okay. Is there anybody here in the audience who wants to come up and speak? No. Anybody here who is already thinking about if there's a TED next year here, or wherever it might be, that they want to be part of that? We've got some hands up already, the out-of-towners. Okay, brilliant. And in terms of your topic, so what is it about? You said you were passionate for children, passionate about children. What is it about children that brings that passion out of you?
I just think they're the next generation. They're going to be the ones leading the world in a couple of years, so it's up to us as teenagers, adults and all that to look after them, nurture them, raise them.
And to get it right,
yeah?
So what would if you could walk into a maternity ward,
Yeah.
and there's a mum, a dad, a baby, what would be your word of advice? If you sort of had to put it in one sentence, what would be your word of advice to them?
Don't be scared about mucking up, because
Don't be scared about mucking up.
everyone's different. Just all you can do is try your best, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll learn, you'll learn, it's all everyone learning together.
Everyone learning together.
Yeah.
Because parents, we all muck up. It's what we do, but the children survive. It's okay. And this side, and we've all seen it, where there's the baby in the pram, sometimes facing that way, not that way, and then whoever's pushing the pram is sort of on their phone or whatever, or maybe the baby's on the phone as well. Have you ever got as far as tapping them on the shoulder and asking them to think about what they're doing?
I think a few relatives with younger kids, I've often, like when I used to babysit, I would kind of not want to turn the TV on, or I'd sit down with a board game or read or something like that, rather than get a device out. But I mean, devices are helpful,
Yeah.
especially all the apps and stuff that we're getting these days. It's really clever.
Yeah.
But there's also a time for interaction.
So when you babysit, you're walking the talk then, it's television off,
Yeah.
video games off, and you sit down with the Monopoly, and the kids are going,
Not,
oh,
not always Monopoly, that's a bit long. Despite what my
you're on
sister
that.
might like.
Oh, she's got a higher boredom threshold, that's all right.
She
then.
loves
Okay.
Monopoly.
This is all right. It's a capitalist in there.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? One final thing you want to say? What do you want us to go away thinking?
Just anything, have a nice day. All these kids here that I've learnt and become friends with, they're all so talented. And to get up on here today is just so amazing. So thank you all for being here and listening.
Thank you, Kayleigh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well done.